You are on purpose with purpose. Hi, this is Nikki from Illuminated Movement Astrology here to talk about the new moon in Capricorn, the first new moon of 2024. So, new moons, right? The common thing that we hear all the time, especially in pop astrology, is how new moons are new beginnings or new cycles, or in some way, something that's being planted, right? Being seeded so that it can grow. And that's certainly true with this new moon, but that's not the complete picture, not by a long shot. So that's why it's important to not just look at one aspect of an astrological occurrence, but to look at it in totality. So today we're going to look at the new moon in the overall bigger picture, not just this new moon, right, by itself exclusively. So what do I mean by this new moon is different? Well, it's got a lot of closing energy, right? And we could say that's true, that new beginnings are always part of some other ending, right? For something new to begin, something has to end. And that is certainly the case with this new moon. The new moon is applying to Pluto. Pluto is the planet of transformation. And if you've been listening to me for a while, I've been talking about this pretty much in every single video because it's been so prominent in the cosmic story, in the background frequency. Pluto is at 29 degrees of Capricorn. It's making its final moves from Capricorn to Aquarius, back to Capricorn one more time in 2024 before it enters Aquarius for good towards the end of this calendar year and stays there for the next 20 years. So, with this new moon being in Capricorn, it's the last new moon that we're going to have in Capricorn while Pluto is also in Capricorn. So this new moon energy has a full cycle feeling to it. The thing that's the exclamation point in this sentence here is that this new moon is also square to the nodes of fate. So when that happens, it really brings our attention to the energies of things that we may have skipped, things that were not fully integrated. Okay. And so that's going to come up on this new moon as well. We've got a nice square happening in addition from Mercury and Neptune, which is giving us a little bit maybe of some hazy thinking or some muddled thinking on the not so fun end, but on the bigger, greater, higher end, if you can tap into that as well, is being able to vision, being able to see something new, to communicate your vision, or to start networking things that you want to build. So that's happening during this new moon. And the last significant thing is that this new moon is going to be in trine to Uranus. So that's a harmonious aspect, right? Uranus, the planet of genius, of sudden revelations, right? Whether they're wanted revelations or maybe it seems like unwanted revelations, but they are sudden breakthroughs, right? Uranus is the planet that wants to rebel, that wants to go its own way. And Uranus is going to be more significant coming up in this year because it's one of the co-ruling planets of Pluto in Aquarius when we get to that part of the year. So we're going to want to pay extra attention to Uranus going forward, as well as Saturn. Those are the two rulers of Pluto in Aquarius. So we've got all that energy going on. What do we do with it? That's one of the bigger questions. So I'm going to pull up the chart. We're going to take a look at it, and then we'll talk a little bit about what do we do with this energy. All right, so taking a look at the chart itself of the new moon. So it's happening on January the 11th in the wee hours of the morning on Pacific Standard Time. So if you happen to live in another part of the world, it'll be occurring for you on January the 10th. But if we look at this, here's the chart that I was talking about. We've got the moon and the sun at 20 degrees of Capricorn, okay, coming up and applying to our friend Pluto. So it's coming into Pluto, right? Which makes the energy a little bit stronger. If Pluto was on the other side of this, then it would feel a little bit different. But because this is coming up to Pluto, we've got a little bit more of that plutonic feel, that transformative feel, that urge for us to grow and change and evolve, to pull up the last vestiges of whatever it is that we've been working on in Capricorn for the last 15 years for us to take a look at and to, again, hopefully resolve or integrate. And that's being emphasized by the nodes here, right? So as you can see, the little numbers next to them, right? The 20s, 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 making a T-square. So making an exact square. And because they're exactly square, that's something that we want to make a little bit more of a priority when we're looking at things that come up. Okay. If this was farther apart, I would say, well, it's there, but it's not as strong. But because it's exact, that's something in the cosmic language, the cosmic communication telling us, hey, pay attention. So since 2008, we've had Pluto in Capricorn, right? So wherever the Capricorn area is on your personal chart, it's going to be different for everyone, but wherever that is on your personal chart has been going through a tremendous amount of probably upheaval, right? Change, potentially power struggles. And it's where you've been doing a lot of hopefully subconscious work, right? Making the unconscious conscious. It's one of the best ways to use Pluto's energy. And Pluto is not a warm, fuzzy planet. Okay. It's not the planet that is going to bring you chicken soup and crackers and a blanket when you don't feel good. It's going to be the planet that's like, well, why don't you feel good? Is it because you weren't taking care of your health? Yeah. Is it because of this? Yeah. Right. It's just going to kind of tough love you in a really big way. And that's what Pluto's been doing. So the purpose of Pluto doing that is not to torment you or to cause you problems, right? None of the planets are causing you problems. They are bringing up energies that your soul contract, that your soul needs to grow and to change and to evolve. Okay, so we need to get rid of that astrological fear mongering that goes on, right? It's like, oh no, I have this planet and everything's going to go bad. No, it's not. Doesn't mean that challenges won't necessarily happen, but they're there for a reason, right? The challenges are what make us grow. The challenges are what helps us to ultimately become the best versions of ourselves, right? If everything was always just the same and comfortable, we'd be so bored, right? And nothing great would ever really happen because it would just be the same old, same old. So with Pluto squaring the nodes, or not Pluto, excuse me, this new moon squaring the nodes, but Pluto is nearby. We want to take a look at something that may be coming back up. Again, kind of this one last round. So if it's something that you've been working on for a while, if you can celebrate the opportunity to look at it with your new eyes, right? Your new transformed, hopefully Phoenix moment eyes. Okay. So it may have been a powerful theme that you've been working on again for, anywhere in the last 15 years. And that's okay. Don't get frustrated if something does come up that needs your attention again. You're like, gosh, I thought I had resolved this. There's another piece that needs to be changed, or there's something that you need to practice to make sure that the changes that you've been making, the ways in which that you've been growing and evolving have fully integrated or integrated as fully as they can. So pay attention to that coming up. The other piece here is that this new moon in particular is in a trine with our friend Uranus, right? Another one of the not so warm and fuzzy outer planets, but one that's really important to our collective growth. And Uranus represents a lot of things. And one of the things it represents is changes, right? Sudden insights, sudden breakthroughs, sudden changes, sudden reversals. And we use the word sudden a lot in astrology because it does seem to just boom, download. And if you're someone that has a strong Uranus in your chart, then you know what I mean. It's like inspiration can come out of nowhere, right? You can be walking along and all of a sudden it's like, oh, I got it. I got the answer to this part of my project I'm trying to resolve, or this thing that's been bugging me, or whatever it is. It can be those moments of, a song coming on the radio, or a book falling off a shelf, or a conversation that we overhear, and someone happens to be saying the very thing that clicks things into place for us. And we're like, oh, I get it now. So Uranus has the ability to be such a light bulb moment. The challenge is with Uranus is that we don't always pay attention to its subtle signs coming up, right? So when Uranus comes along and makes a big change, if we haven't been paying attention to the little, nudges, then it can feel like it came out of nowhere. And sometimes it's a change or an insight, something that feels like it blindsides us, and it can really disrupt things. And that's where Uranus has come to be one of the planets associated with trauma, along with Pluto, along with Neptune, along with Mars. Um, and that can be really challenging. The good part here is that Uranus has been in Taurus for a while. So all my Taurus friends, right, who don't like their routine, their comfort, their security disturbed, we've had some time since 2018 to get a little bit more accustomed to the ground shifting beneath us, right? With Uranus causing that shift, that change in values, the change in our resources, the change in what we thought was stable, along with Pluto, right? Also in an earth sign. Capricorn is another sign that really has stability on its mind, although in a different way. So we've had all these huge changes going on for a long time. And the good news is that hopefully we've started to trust that when things are coming up for change or things are shifting, that we have enough faith to say it's going to be okay. We've got enough strength in ourselves, enough resource in ourselves to say, I've got this. No matter what comes up, I can figure it out. Right? The universe is giving me this opportunity. My soul is calling in this opportunity for change because it's for my highest and best good. And we don't have a stressful aspect here. We've got a trine. So a trine is a flowing energy. So it may be a little bit easier to have whatever changes are coming up, whatever insights are coming up, whatever Uranus is bringing you, it may be a little bit easier to digest in a way. When the aspects are more stressful, the red-lined ones, when you look at charts, they're a little bit more dynamic. They push up against one another, right? They kind of cause the other to have to make adjustments. And depending on how you feel about that, depending on how it, what it is in your chart, that can be easier or more difficult. But we've got that nice trine aspect. So I'm really happy to see that on the chart because Uranus has been involved in so many of the major lunations, the full moons, the new moons, and the eclipses for the last couple of years. If you go back and you look at the charts, Uranus has been involved over and over and over again. So it's nice to see it in more of a harmonious way and less of like a one of those butting up against the other kind of ways. So happy to see that. And we do have this square between Mercury, as I mentioned at the beginning, and Neptune. So Mercury in Sag, it's direct, it's moving through, right? Squaring off with Neptune. So again, when squares happen, they butt up against one another, right? They're looking to create a dynamic change in some way. So what we want to do here is use this in a way where we can create new visions or new networking or new communication or new ways of thinking, right? Mercury has to do with the mind, and more the logical mind over in an overall way. And Neptune doesn't, right? Neptune is much more of the sense of oneness, the sense of whatever it is that you connect to in terms of what you call God or the creator or the field or any other name that we give to the creative energy, the force of life that we cannot see or touch or work with in a material way. That's a lot of Neptune. But Neptune is also, it's a lot of inspiration, right? So Neptune really has a lot to do with being creative in some way. And we are all creative. This doesn't mean that you have to go out and be, Van Gogh or the next great singer or whatever. That might be you, and that's fantastic if that is you. But if you're someone who's like, well, I work in a lab or I work in an office, I don't really feel particularly creatively inclined. Neptune is any act where we're bringing something that was once like a vision or a daydream into being. So, whatever that is. And we're all creating all day long, no matter if we think we are or we're not. So, Creativity and artistry are two separate things, although Neptune has an affiliation with both. So it could be something in that sense, Mercury wanting to expand our horizons. Mercury in Sag is being disposited by that nice Jupiter direct in Taurus at 5 degrees. So we've got Jupiter direct, we've got it in Taurus. If we can use our vision, if we can use these things and align it with our values on our self-worth, it's going to go a lot further because this Capricorn new moon, the new energy of the Capricorn, right, has a lot to do with laying the groundwork, right? We're really laying the groundwork for 2024 because 2024 is going to be quite a year. And it'll probably be one of those years that we look back on and go, wow, that was pivotal. That was huge. Um, so we'll see what that ends up looking like. And I apologize, I'm late on my 2024 um, year overall video. I went on a really deep dive on it and I got a little, I think, too deep looking at the mundane aspects of it, which is the world astrology. And sometimes when I look at world astrology, I get a little depressed because so much of what we write down historically is negatively focused. And it took me a little while to move through that. So I'm in a place where I feel better about it now. So I'll be able to post that upcoming soon. So sorry that that is late. Anyhow, back to this new moon. Um, we have the ability here to move on into higher truths, right? To take whatever we've been transforming of these last 15 years and these last 3 years also, because who could forget that we had that huge stellium, that huge pileup of planets in Capricorn during 2020, and what a year 2020 was, right? We need to integrate all of the things from 2008 forward and also 2020 forward. So there's a lot of integration. There's a lot of, again, laying the groundwork. Capricorn as a cardinal sign wants to start new things, right? It's a new direction kind of energy inherently. But the interesting thing about Capricorn is it's also a sustained energy, right? It's got a determination to rise from the depths of the ocean and go all the way up to the top of the mountain, right? The sea goat that actually walks between worlds. And when we put all those things together, it's actually quite exciting, right? I think this is a really beautiful and hopeful new moon um, overall. I really, really do. Of course, there's going to be challenges. There always is. There's some things in the world that are continuing to fall apart, and that's going to keep happening. And that can be hard to look at. That can be hard to interact with. But don't lose sight. Don't lose hope. Don't lose vision. Try not to get lost in the sauce either. So, one of the biggest themes with Pluto being in Aquarius, or excuse me, in Capricorn and moving towards the Aquarius, what did we need from the last 15 years? Right? It hasn't all been bad. There's been a lot of great stuff too. And hopefully we've become more resilient. And hopefully we've become more empowered as a result of this Pluto transit. That's really what Pluto is ultimately trying to show you is the stuff that's underneath that you haven't been paying attention to, that's in some way undermining you, that's in some way keeping you in a state of subservience or disconnection. Okay. It's really trying to bring those things up so that you can step more into feeling your authenticity and your self agency, particularly in Capricorn. We need our inner authority, and Capricorn has to do with authority. Saturn, its ruler, has to do with authority. So we've seen a lot of these outside authorities really violating personal authority. And I know that's a bit of a sensitive topic, but we have to talk about it because if we don't address these things, when Pluto gets into Aquarius and accelerates all the changes and accelerates all of the things that are going to be happening in the world, whether it's through technology, whether it's through sharing of information, whether it's through migration, whether it's through wars, whatever it is, the elites versus the common people, we're going to have a really strong inner compass because it's going to be really easy to get pulled in different directions by demagogues and ideologues, and it's going to be difficult to deal with some of the enhanced is not the word I want to use, but that's the best one I can think of right now. Um, um, I don't like that word enhanced, but oh well, it is what it is. The enhanced authoritarianism that's going to come through, and the enhanced cognitive dissonance that we're going to have to deal with because I don't know if you've noticed, but all of a sudden, there's a lot more truths coming up. There's more things that are breaking apart. And that's partially a Uranian function. That's partially an Aquarian function. That's partially a Pluto function, right? Nothing really works in isolation when we're talking about universal, cosmic, natural laws. There's things that are always working together. And so, as those things accelerate, if you don't have a strong sense of self, a strong inner compass, a strong inner authority, it's going to be really difficult to not get swept up into someone else's idea of your life, someone else's idea of what is right for you, someone else's idea of how you should or shouldn't be. So it's been really, really important that we take all this Capricorn energy, this inner authority energy, and really integrate it. Right. So that's what this new moon is really showing us is like, okay, you're here. If you're here and you woke up today, then you're on purpose because the universe doesn't have accidents. Nothing is here without design. Nothing is here without purpose. So you are here on purpose with purpose. And purpose means different things to different people in different times and different places in their life. And this isn't just, your job that you do, although it could be part of it. You're here for a reason. And I talked to quite a few people, and one of the things that's been difficult is there's been a loss of purpose for a lot of people, a loss of connection. And so just reminding everyone that if you are here and you woke up today, no matter what is going on, there's a purpose for you being here. Okay. You have something to contribute. You are a piece of the cosmic puzzle, and you are the only piece that is shaped like you, that has the pattern that it has, that fits exactly where it needs to fit. Okay, so don't try to shave your puzzle piece off and cut it off or try to, be a flower piece if you're a water piece, right? Just be the piece that you are and you will fit perfectly in, right? There's a great quote by Dane Rudyard, who is one of the foremost astrologers who started developing astrology for personal use, personal reasons that has to do with our psychological development. And I love his quote that, when you're not who you are, there's a hole in the universe where you were supposed to be. Something like that. I'm paraphrasing it, but you fit. You're part of this puzzle. Okay. And so even if you can't see it, even if you don't really get it, I promise you fit and you will see it, right, to some degree or a large degree and in the near future. It will become more clear. So don't lose hope. Don't give up. Don't feel overwhelmed if you can by all the things that are going on in the world, all these big changes. Really anchor yourself, right? Get whatever you need to lay the foundation for what you want in the future. Capricorn has to do with the long term, right? Capricorn is the long game. So it's the legacy that you want to leave. And this can be as simple as, do you want to be nice to people that you meet? Do you want to have a positive impact wherever you go? Do you want to, maybe it is write a book, or maybe it is Saturn, teach other people, or maybe it is making the best cupcakes, or maybe it is, even if it's something that maybe society hasn't held in high esteem, like maybe you're a janitor or something like that, be the best one, right? That's what really matters. It's not about prestige, although we've had a cult of celebrity for so long, we've gotten indoctrinated into that, prestige or celebrity is everything. It's not. It's about who you are, right? And so, with this new moon, really looking at who you are and how you've grown and how you have changed and how you can lay that groundwork. Whatever comes up that needs to come up to be healed, because we do have Chiron here as well. Chiron is the great healer with this Aries energy, that ability to be authentic, to be myself, right? Whatever that means for you to have the ability to actualize your unique life in your way. Whatever comes up, allow it to be there. It's there for a reason. It's never there to hurt you, ever, 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 right? Even if it's painful in the short run. So I hope that was helpful. I hope you guys got a nice vision of what this new moon is and how to work with it. So looking at, how you've grown. Where do you want to vision? Where do you want to lay down groundwork? Where are you traveling? What do you want to sustain, right, going forward? And who do you want to be? Really get those things as set as you can. Pull in all the help that you need, right? Because Aquarius, we need other people. Okay, regardless of how much we've been in isolation for the last few years, we do need other people. So pull in the resources that you have, the talents that you have, and I promise you, you have them, the people that you know. Start calling upon those things and bringing them in, weaving them in so that you can really lay down a nice groundwork for 2024. Thank you so much for listening. Subscribe and like. Give me some comments and let me know what you think. I do respond to the comments, and I will get that 2024 overall video out ASAP. All right. Take care, everyone. Mwah. Bye for now.